Previously, when we heard the word God mode build, we thought that there will be a build that will be just like crazy amount of armor and, armor regen, production from elite, just basically a lot of survivability, but no damage at all. But we were okay with that because, we were surviving. So if we can survive anything, we can kill anything, right? But nowadays, that's not the case. We not only have the survivability, but we can also get crazy amount of damage. I mean, look at the damage numbers that I'm actually hitting right now. It is insane. I do have two variants to show you, one which will do crazy damage and going to keep us alive at the same time, obviously. But the other one is just absolute straight up God mode, like too much survivability, and we are keeping the damage really high too. That is with or without modifiers. Now, you don't need modifiers for any of these, they will work really well. However, if you do have the modifiers, they work really, really, really well too. It's quite fun and hilarious. So if you're interested, let me show you without wasting much of your time. Let's just talk about the modifiers. Now, as for the modifiers, honestly, I'm just going to use Sanitation because it gives you crazy amount of damage and survivability, like the regen that is. So all you have to do is just activate it, everybody burns, and burning targets don't shoot back, so that's nice. We do get 7% damage per stack, and it stacks up to 10 times, so you can see where the damage is coming from. Like, it's crazy amount of damage. And the repair too, like 110% repair per second. So as long as you just shoot and crit on enemies, which you will be, and then you burn them, you'll have the regen and you'll get crazy damage too, which is pretty sweet. Like, try it out, you'll see how good it is. Now, as for the passive, one of them is Stepping Stones. I'm going to be using this because when you eliminate enemies with headshots, like assault enemies, you get hull point ammo. That is 20% of amplified damage basically, so that's pretty sweet there. The second one I'm using is the Rupert's Tear. That's when you break a tank's armor, it breaks all their armor, like basically strips them of the armor, which is pretty sweet, plus also bleeds nearby enemy, so there's that. And then the final one I'm using Keep Out, which is if there's a rusher like a shotgunner or something, you can take them down and then you'll get 20% of movement speed, so you'll move quicker. So yeah, that's basically my modifiers. Now, as for the weapons, well, it was a tough choice to make because I love both the weapons. If I had the option to use both exotics, I would have done that. I'm using Backfire for basically everyone else because Backfire is, I would say it's very new player friendly. Because you don't have to worry about crit chance much, and also if your SSD is lower, so this will help you because it's an SMG, so you get a lot of crit chance plus a lot of crit damage from the talent. That's 200%, so it's very easy to activate that. So basically point and shoot. Now there is a downside about that bleed effect thingy, but you can easily bypass that and ignore it as well if you want to, and once you hit max stacks, you're not going to bleed at all. So yeah, it's not really big deal. Now, Chameleon is the other one that I actually recommend, and this is what I will use. Actually, personally, I prefer Chameleon over the Backfire. Even though a Chameleon's optimal range is a bit lower than Backfire, it has higher RPM, and the adapting instincts talent will absolutely destroy anything when this gets active, especially the body shot. Like once you get 65 body shot, you'll get 90% of weapon damage. That is exactly the same amount of weapon damage you can get from an all red 6-core red build. That's the damage right there. So yeah, now you also get crit chance and crit damage. So again, this is on another weapon that is fairly simple and easy to use with the crit chance when it gets active, but you do need to land 30 headshots for that. So I start with the headshots first and then go for the body shots, and so I can easily juggle the talent. I don't have any issues with it. So it's more like a advanced thing. So that's why I didn't recommend this as the main weapon or the preferred weapon. I give you the Backfire because it's easy and simple to use, and it's also, like I said, new player friendly weapon for lower SSD players, because it's an SMG. But Chameleon will just perform, in my opinion, a bit better, especially when the talents get active, and you can keep it active really easily. So you decide what you want. You can choose both the weapon and try it out and see which one's serving you well. Now, as for the build, well, this is the build over here. As you can see, this is the first variant of the build. Yes, first variant. I do have another one that I want to show you. This was the one I was showing you at the beginning of the video, where I was doing crazy damage, like 1.6, 1.7 million crits on the body with the modifier active. It was absolutely destroying it. Now, I do have another one, which is mainly for solo players. So if you're interested on just that, you can go and check that out. There's timestamps. That will have more survivability, but the damage is also really high, and that is without, obviously, modifier. That is, we're doing crazy damage, like 850k crits on the body. That is also slapping. So if you're interested on that, you can check that out. But with this one, we're doing crazy high damage. We also have similar regen like the second variant as well. Both of the build actually has same regen, which is 3.5%, which is obviously higher than something like Memento. Memento only gives you 3%. But with this one, we get more regen, and you don't even have to worry about building up the regen because it is just active all the time, right? It's like set and forget. So I felt like I had to, mention that first. So you don't have to worry about like, building stacks like Memento. Now, as for the gears, well, I would say this build is not so new player friendly, is because I'm using the knee pads, which is the Empress Guard. The Empress Guard knee pads is absolutely a must for this particular setup, is because we get that armor regen 1%. Without this, you will not get crazy high armor regen. You need this. You absolutely do. And that's why I said this is not so new player friendly. However, if you want to have the same regen, actually a bit more, you can use the second variant, which I'll get to it in a moment. But you can jump right now if you want to, right? But yeah, we have to use the Empress Guard. Even though the skill duration thing is not really helping for us, but we need it for that 1% armor regen. Now, as for the other pieces, we're using a Sokolov Mask. So that gives us 10% SMG damage. I have crit damage, crit chance, and crit damage mod. I actually would prefer something like crit damage and armor regen, because I don't need crit chance at all in this build. I am overcapping my crit chance. I do not need crit chance. I would prefer more regen. Now, as for the backpack, I'm using a Bellstone that gives us 1% armor regen. We have armor regen, crit chance, crit damage, and we have Unstoppable Force as our talent. Again, I would prefer armor regen, crit damage mod. Unstoppable Force is because I'm solo, and it gives basically the same damage like the Vigilance. So they both like do give you same damage, which is 25%. So if you want to use this build in a group, which you can absolutely do though, you can use Vigilance talent. Or if you want bonus armor, use Bloodsucker. You can also use Adrenaline Rush. It's totally up to you. Yeah, but I'm playing solo, so I'm sticking with the Unstoppable Force there. Now, as for the other two pieces, like the chest piece and the holster, I'm using 2 pieces of Golem gear. So that way I can get 1.5% of armor regen as a set bonus. Now for the chest piece, I am using Obliterate Talent because it's easy to activate with crit. Kind of set and forget, point and shoot, it's active basically. So you don't have to worry about proccing anything. And there is no range restriction on this either. So yeah, we have crit damage, armor regen, and crit damage mod. And as for the holster, I have crit damage and crit chance. Yeah, I honestly would use armor regen and crit damage if I can, because like I said, I have way too much crit chance on the build, basically overcapping the crit chance right now, especially with the backfire, that is. Now you can see that we're getting the damage from the backfire, obviously the crit damage. We got the damage from the damage talents too, and there's the Sokolov piece that's also giving us extra SMG damage. However, we're getting amplified damage from the gloves, which is the exotic gloves, the OVERDOGS. We're getting 30% of amplified damage to the lowest ranking enemies. But honestly, you don't have to worry about any of these. Just put it on, use it, you'll see the damage. Basically just set and forget. All of this build, everything is set and forget. Easily working for you, giving you crazy damage and regen at the same time. Now, if I show you my stats here, you can see my crit chance is still maxed out. It's really, really high there. So I would actually prefer to take those 2 crit chance and add more crit damage, which I already have quite a lot here. But with Backfire, it's going to go even higher, like 355%, that is, right? With Backfire giving us 200. As for the defensive stats, we have armor and kill, 10% from the gunner. And we have really good amount of armor regen. Like, this is really solid. I would actually get even more regen if my mask had armor regen there. So that would be definitely getting higher than like 74k probably. So yeah, that's pretty much the build, which is giving you crazy damage. Basically all blue cores in a way, except the gloves, but we're still hitting that number. I mean, without modifiers, you're going to easily do more than 1 million crits on the body. But with the modifiers active, yeah, it's insane. It's insane. So that's the first variant of the build. Now, as for the second variant of the build, this is the one I would actually recommend, especially if you're a solo player. You're a solo player, you do not care about the crazy high damage numbers because you don't like to go down. You like to survive because, like I always say, if you can survive anything, you can kill anything, right? So survivability is the most important thing. And you also want to do really high damage. Like, you don't want to hit like a wet noodle. We are not hitting like a wet noodle. We are doing 850k crits on the body, and that's no joke. That is without modifiers. If you do activate modifiers, it's going to hit even harder. Like, we're talking 1.2, 1.3 million crits on the body as well. With this build, like with this, like the amount of armor and tankiness we have on it, it still slaps, which is crazy. I know it's hard to believe, but that's the reality we're living in nowadays. We're using 3 pieces of Gila here. I'm not using the Empress Guard, so this is also kind of a new player friendly. Now, I just said new player friendly, and I'm about to show you Chill Out Mask. Relax, you don't have to use this. You can just use a normal Gila Guard mask. We just care about the set bonuses here, which is 5% total armor and 2% of armor regen. You can just use a normal Gila Guard mask. The reason why I'm using the Chill Out here, because this is the optimal way of building it, because it gives you that 2 mod slot, so you can easily use protection from elites. If you have 13%, that's awesome, I guess. But yeah, this is I would recommend using it like this, or just like I said, use the normal Gila Guard. It's totally fine. You can also use crit damages if you want, but then again, that will be a totally different build then. Now, for the other 2 pieces of Gila Guard, like I'm using the backpack here. We have armor regen, crit chance. Again, I would prefer crit damage. So we have protection from elite mod, and bloodsucker is the talent. Now, for the knee pads, I'm using armor regen and crit damage here as my attributes. So that's the 3 pieces of Gila Guard. Now, for the 2 pieces of Golan, we made a little change here, which is again not so new player friendly. I know Hunter Killer is here, but that's the optimal way. Okay, I'm showing you the optimal setup that you should be using to get the best out of it. But if you don't have it, don't stress it. Just use a normal golden gear chest piece just for the sake of that said bonus. That's what we need, 1.5% of armor regen. You can use a normal golden gear with the intimidate talent, totally fine. You will lose a little bit of damage than the perfect intimidate, but again, not a huge deal there. But if you have the hunter killer, you can use it. Now, if you do want the same hunter killer I'm using right now, you can buy it from Cassie. She's actually selling it this week. With armor regen already on it. All you need to do is change the second attribute to crit damage and optimize the chest piece. You'll have the exact same stats like I am using right now. So go and get that from Cassie. Okay, so that's the hunter killer. Now, as for the holster, we're again using another golden piece. So it's basically the same from the previous variant. So that's the build, especially if you're solo. This is super tanky. This will keep you alive. It has even more regen. Like if I show you my stats here, you can see my crit chance and crit damage. Again, I would prefer a little bit more crit damage there, which I can get if I get the perfect pieces, but unfortunately I don't have it. But I am overcapping my crit chance right now. Now, if I show you my defensive stats, you can see same 10% armor and kill. We have even more armor regen now. That is really high regen right there, you can see. And we also have protection from elite. Again, if you have 13% protection from elite, then this will be higher. But this is not that bad. Like, you're this much resistant from the elites, basically. Like, they'll do less damage, so which is nice. So this one's I would prefer mostly like when I'm solo. I do use it a lot. So if you are solo, use this instead of that. But if you want to go crazy with the damage number, you can absolutely use the first one, and you can use that in a group as well. Like, it's doing really high damage. So yeah, this is basically the 2 variants of the build that I wanted to show you. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, leave a like, maybe subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Till then, peace.